This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, California pushes students to chant to Aztec deity. With us this evening, Will Johnson, the founder of Unite America First. Will, thank you for joining us again.
Hey, glad to be here, Jamie.
Well, fantastic. Well, I was saying, Will, you did an excellent show on this recently. It's in the news in several places. Of course, not on CNN or MSNBC unless they were supporting this. But Will, I just think about how the left operates. I'm trying to picture, a whole bunch of leftists sitting in a room that are responsible for children's education, and somebody says, why don't we just have children read a little bit of the New Testament and learn a little bit about Jesus? And everybody would be like, oh, no, we couldn't do that. Stop it. And then somebody says, why don't we make children worship human sacrifice and cannibalism? And then all the leftists just cheer up and get really excited about it. That's actually what's going on, right?
You're very correct. That's exactly what's happening. I mean, what kind of world are we living in where they're teaching our children to worship these false gods? And just the Aztecs, the deities, when they're talking about human sacrifice and cannibalism. I mean, really? Really? And like you just mentioned, Jesus is so bad. So bad. Even if you don't believe in God, let's just go with that for just a second. Let's say you don't believe in God. The idea of God is nothing but good, pure, innocent, honesty. The idea of God is that. These people reject that 100%.
Absolutely, Will. So look, specifically in terms of this story, it's California's proposed ethnic studies curriculum, which is calling for the decolonization of American society. And they want to, quote unquote, counter genocide against white Christians. This is actually very interesting. And they're actually talking about this. Tell us about this curriculum and what these Marxist Dems are up to in California.
Well, just to give a little background from the information that I'm aware of, the Democrats in the state of California have been pushing different ideologies onto children. And the main reason why they're doing this is to get kids at an early age to have a certain mentality, to have a certain thought. Then when they get older, when they become a ripe age of you and I, that it would be completely normal. It'd be a natural thing to them. And it's by design. It's the same thing that they did in Nazi Germany in the 1930s. Hitler wanted to target children at the age of 3 to get them to start believing in Nazism. And then all of a sudden, no one would argue the point. Everyone would say, this is the way life is. They're doing the exact same thing in the state of California with the children by bringing it in. Same thing they did with what they did with the teaching children about same sex and how little boys can have sex with little boys. All this ties in together. It's about them attacking the children.
And there's all these curriculum materials now, and people can look this up, of course. You just got to Google it and watch your interview, and there's a few articles on it now. But this curriculum, it involves a lot of weird stuff. They want this transformational resistance, and they have this ethnic studies community chant, and there's this chanting going on now to the Aztec gods, and of course this includes human sacrifice. And they're doing this all for social justice in a revolutionary spirit. So the Marxists in general at the California Department of Education and elsewhere, as we know, they go with the children, like you said, right? So they're, of course, brainwashing the whole society, but of course they go with the kids, right? And something's going on. There's a genocide being planned against white people and white Christians, right? Christians overall of all color, of course. But there's something, obviously, there's a hate whitey agenda going on.
Oh, 100%. Another thing that they're introducing into the school is BLM. BLM has been added to the school curriculum, and that is anti-Christian, anti-God, anti-white people, and they're pushing this onto children as well. And I've been talking about how white people are under attack for the past 3 years. And when I first started seeing it, I was like, I'm kind of questioning a little bit, but I'm like, no, they're aggressively attacking white people. And now it's so evident people can no longer ignore it. I mean, how is it that they're teaching children to hate white people when a lot of these kids themselves are white? They got to go home and hate mommy and daddy now. This is beyond ridiculous.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think the Dems are really aiming for?
Well, be honest with you, I think the Democrats, the Dems, are really aiming to tear down this country. Mm-hmm. It's all about the whole Build Back Better, the world economic system, the total reset. We're experiencing what no one thought they would experience in our lifetimes in this country. And we're seeing it firsthand. And it seems so surreal. It's like we're talking about it, we're having a discussion about it, but it's actually happening. It's not a Tom Clancy book. It's not a fiction, nonfiction. It's all fiction. It's all factual. I mean, seriously, what we're seeing is the downfall of the United States of America and the division like we never seen since the first Civil War.
Will, how long do you think Biden's going to be around? It's just, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's absurd. Just even has he had a press conference yet? But what do you think? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? They're going to get Kamala in there, right?
I think they're already starting the paperwork and starting the transition to Kamala Harris. And, the main reason why they're doing this, and the reason why they put Kamala Harris with Joe Biden is because they're itching so bad to say, Madam President. They can care less about everything else. They're itching so bad to be able to say, Madam President, and they want it to be one of theirs that they can control, or one of theirs that's going to have this demonic mindset like Kamala Harris. And I give it, 100 days is pushing it. My personal opinion, 100 days is pushing it. And this 50 days, and Biden, he hasn't done a press conference. He can barely speak. He actually tonight, he went in front of the teleprompter and took his time. But this was something where I just found out that he actually practiced this speech over and over and over and over before he got in front of the teleprompter. So there's no press conference with Biden. It's hard for me to believe that there's going to be a State of the Union where he's in front of Congress and the American people for an hour and a half trying to hold a conversation without a teleprompter that he has not have opportunity to practice. I mean, it's insane. I mean, can you imagine an hour and a half with his diaper on and he's trying to go through an entire hour and a half trying to do a speech without bumbling it up? It's not going to happen. There's no way. That's why I'm saying I give it less than 100 days.
Absolutely. But Will, I was thinking for them to say Madam President, that implies that she's female, but Nancy Pelosi and the left and the Democrats, haven't they forbidden gender to be spoken about? Because there's no such thing as gender anymore. How can you say somebody is woman or male? Now, even in the stores, we can't have boys and girls' toys separate from each other. So how can we say she's a female president if there's no such thing as gender anymore?
I guess it's a bad ordeal for Kamala Harris. She can't even, but she's probably fine with it. She's probably fine just be called, President Harris. Oh my goodness, it's so disgusting to even think about that. And you're right. You can't even, there's books now. What is it? The GABCs, and the W in there doesn't represent women, and the M in there doesn't represent for me. And they say mountain, and W is like wonderful or something. I mean, it's insane that our country, our nation is actually experiencing something that is completely off the rocker.
Yeah, our Savior talked about the days, he said it will be like in the days of Noah, and I wonder if we're in those days.
I think so. I think so. I think we're experiencing a lot of what the Bible has been talking about. I think we're experiencing what the Bible warned us about. And I truly believe that we are that generation the Bible referred to that see all of these crazy things come to pass.
Absolutely. Will, you are an inspiration, and keep on telling the truth and fighting for freedom. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming on the Glazov Gang.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And everybody, you need to be visiting Will Johnson at UniteAmericaFirst.com. You shouldn't be doing anything else. That's how you start the morning, afternoon, and that's what site you go to before you go to sleep. But you should be watching the Glazov Gang in between. And we'll see you soon. Good night.